This is News Now, where we take you through happenings in Nigeria at this time. I am Tehila Debiobole. Well, first off, Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed TINUBU and Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan have agreed to deepen economic, security and diplomatic ties, with both countries targeting a $5 billion annual trade volume. Well, the agreement was reached on Tuesday in Ankara during the President TINUBU's visit to Turkey, where both leaders held bilateral talks and signed multiple cooperation agreements. President Erdogan disclosed that trade between the two countries currently stands at about $2 billion, but said ongoing discussions and new frameworks would help push it to $5 billion. Makoko demolition protesters marched in Ikeja carrying symbolic coffin, which they say represents lives reportedly lost during the forced eviction. Well, they are demanding accountability from authorities. People came from Makoko, Mile 12, Owode, Oworo, and other communities in the capital of Lagos State, Ikeja. According to some residents, the state government had not been truthful about the reasons they are asking them to move from their communities. They have been told to move 30 meters away from the power line. Meanwhile, the Lagos State government on Tuesday defended the ongoing demolition exercise in Makoko. Apart from being a largely poor community with half of the population on water and half on land, the entire environment is filled with foul-smelling dark water, it said. Moving to Benue State, Governor Hyacinth Alia has charged contractors executing projects at the Benue State University of Agriculture, Science and Technology to intensify efforts and increase their pace of work to ensure timely completion of ongoing construction. The governor issued the directive Tuesday, 27th January 2026, during an inspection tour of the university. He stated that within the next 14 to 21 days, he expects to see significant improvement in both progress and commitment from the contractors. Governor Ali expressed satisfaction with the quality of work done so far, stressing that all projects must be durable and built to standards that will stand the test of time. In his remarks, the Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Christobert Amoa, disclosed that construction work was progressing steadily across the campus. He noted that the administration block was over 90% completed with only office furnishings outstanding, while the work on student hostels had reached an advanced stage. Still in Benue, State Council of Private and Independent Student School Tutors Union of Nigeria has called for immediate sack of the Director General of the Benue State Education Quality Assurance, Dr. Tana Francis, citing unhealthy rivalry with the State Ministry of Education, causing damage to the education sector, particularly the private schools. Still talking education, Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa announced that the federal government has awarded a total of 350 million naira to 12 outstanding teachers drawn from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, in recognition of their dedication, innovation and impact on Nigeria's education sector. The award at the ongoing 2026 Nigeria Teachers Summit in Abuja. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, has called for stronger synergy among stakeholders to effectively tackle illicit drug cultivation and promote illicit cropping as a means of enhancing food security across the country. Marwa made a call in Akure, the Ondo State capital, at the launch of the Alternative Development Project under the Drug Control Initiative. He explained that the agency is shifting its approach from strict enforcement to empowerment. Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa stated and assured that his administration would support the NDLEA by providing lands and seedlings to ensure the success of the initiative aimed at stemming the tide of drug abuse in the state. Also, the Olowo of Owo and chairman of Ondo State Council of Traditional Rulers, Oba Badegesin Ogunoye, declared support for the NDLEA initiative. Well, in the meantime, leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress has sent a solidarity message to striking workers in the Federal Capital Territory Administration, whom the Industrial Court ordered to suspend their action, describing the ruling as surprising and distasteful. A statement by the Acting General Secretary of the NLC, Ben Sinupa, urged workers not to let their hearts be broken, noting that the court ruling cannot weaken the resolve of already aggrieved workers. The statement also faulted the courts for failing to examine the allegations brought forward by the workers, including claims of non-remittance of the National Housing Fund and pension deductions. Furthermore, the statement puts on notice organizations and individuals violating the provisions of the Pension Fund Act and National Housing Fund Act, warning that such violations would lead to serious engagement with the NLC. Well, after the break, more news in business. Join us again. It's great to have you back. Now in business news, Google has agreed to pay $68 million to settle a class action lawsuit that alleged the technology giant's voice assistant had illegally recorded users and then shared their private conversations with advertisers. The preliminary statement filed January 23 in federal courts in San Jose, California, requires approval by U.S. District Judge Beth Lapson Freeman. The statement stems from a lawsuit filed by several Google device owners who claimed their conversations had been recorded without their knowledge. While Google stated that its voice assistant would only register people's speech when consumers uttered an activation phrase such as "Hey Google," the consumers claimed that their devices recorded them without using such language. Some claimants alleged the Google devices recorded private conversations about financial issues, personal decisions, and employment. If the settlement is approved, Google will place $68 million in a fund that will pay all consumer claims as well as court-approved attorneys' fees and other costs. Now in sport news, Egypt underlined their dominance in the 2025 African Men's Handball Championship with a crushing 48-22 victory over Nigeria at the BK Arena in Kigali on Tuesday, a result that eliminated the Green Arrow from semi-final contention and ended their hopes of immediate qualification for the 2027 World Championship. The defending champions were in control from the opening exchanges, racing into the commanding 24-10 lead by half-time before matching that tally in the second period to complete a comprehensive win. Nigeria, who needed a positive result to progress as top two of main rounds Group 1, were unable to cope with Egypt's pace, efficiency and clinical finishing across the court. Egypt's superiority was reflected clearly in the numbers as they recorded an overall shooting efficiency of 76% compared with Nigeria's 43%, while their dominance from range proved decisive, converting 70% of their 9-meter attempts against Nigeria's 27%. Other stakes remain high, with the winner of the placement phase set to claim Nigeria's final ticket to the 2027 IHF World Championships, keeping Nigeria's global hopes alive despite the emphatic defeat in Kigali. Also, Nigeria's Super Falcons will begin their build up to the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations by competing a 4-nation West African tournament scheduled to hold in Abidjan later this month. The team has confirmed participation in the invitational competition, which is organized by the West African Football Union B and will run from February 27 to March 7, 2026 in Ivory Coast. The tournament will feature 4 teams that have all qualified WAFCON 2026, with hosts Ivory Coast joined by Nigeria, Ghana and Senegal. The mini-tournament is expected to serve as a final competitive test for the teams, ending just 10 days before the start of the WAFCON finals in Morocco. The continental showpiece will be staged from March 17 to April 3rd 2026. It is understood that head coach Justin Madugu has already submitted a provisional squad list, which is expected to be released through official channels in the coming days.